The stadium lights burned brighter than ever before, but for Cristiano Ronaldo, the night felt darker than any he had ever lived through. The crowd screamed his name with the same passion they had shown for nearly 2 decades, yet something felt different this time. Maybe it was the silence hidden behind the cheers. Maybe it was the fear nobody wanted to say out loud. Or maybe it was because deep down, the world knew this could be Ronaldo's final World Cup. For years, football fans had watched him conquer everything the sport could offer. League titles, Champions Leagues, Ballon d'Or trophies, impossible goals, unforgettable comebacks. Cristiano Ronaldo had turned football into his kingdom. He was the machine that never stopped running, the warrior who never accepted defeat, the man who transformed pressure into power. But there was always one dream that stayed just beyond his reach. The FIFA World Cup. The one trophy that continued to haunt even the greatest football legend of his generation. As Portugal's national anthem echoed through the stadium, Ronaldo stood still with tears hiding inside his eyes. He looked toward the sky for a moment, almost as if he was remembering the little boy from Madeira who once dreamed of becoming the best player in the world. Back then, he never imagined the journey would be this painful. He never imagined that after achieving almost everything, one final mountain would still remain unconquered. The cameras focused on his face. The same face football fans had watched grow from a skinny teenager into a global icon. But now, there were signs of time. The speed was slightly slower. The reactions were heavier. The pressure looked larger than ever before. Ronaldo was no longer the unstoppable young superstar who terrified defenders with explosive runs. He was now a veteran carrying the hopes of an entire nation on shoulders that had already fought too many battles. Portugal believed this was their last chance. And Ronaldo knew it too. Inside the dressing room before kickoff, nobody spoke loudly. The tension was impossible to ignore. Some players looked nervous. Others looked emotional. But Ronaldo sat quietly in the corner, staring at the Portugal badge on his shirt. That badge meant everything to him. More than money. More than fame. More than records. Because no matter how many trophies he won with clubs, nothing ever matched the feeling of representing Portugal. The coach finally stood up and spoke to the team, but Ronaldo barely heard the words. His mind was somewhere else. He remembered Euro 2004, when Portugal lost the final at home and he cried like a broken child on the pitch. He remembered the heartbreaking World Cup eliminations. He remembered carrying impossible expectations year after year while the football world compared him endlessly to other legends. Some people loved him. Some people hated him. But nobody could ignore him. That was the burden of being Cristiano Ronaldo. The match finally began, and the atmosphere exploded. Fans waved Portuguese flags everywhere while commentators called it the most emotional game of Ronaldo's career. Every touch of the ball felt heavier than usual. Every missed pass created panic. Every attack carried the weight of history. Then came the moment. Portugal earned a free kick just outside the box. The entire stadium froze. Ronaldo slowly placed the ball on the grass. Millions of fans around the world held their breath. This scene had happened countless times before. The legendary stance. The focused eyes. The silence before the storm. For a second, it felt like time itself stopped moving. Ronaldo took a deep breath and ran toward the ball. Boom! The shot flew through the air with terrifying power, but instead of finding the net, it crashed against the crossbar. The stadium gasped in disbelief. Ronaldo stood frozen for a moment as the ball bounced away. The chance was gone. And maybe, so was another piece of the dream. As the game continued, Portugal struggled. The opponents defended with everything they had. Ronaldo fought endlessly, pressing defenders, shouting instructions, demanding more from his teammates. Even at his age, he refused to surrender. Because surrender was never part of Cristiano Ronaldo's story. But football can be cruel, even to legends. Late in the second half, Portugal conceded a devastating goal. Silence spread through the Portuguese fans like a wave of heartbreak. Ronaldo dropped to his knees for a brief second before immediately standing back up. He clapped his hands aggressively, trying to motivate the team one last time. There were still minutes remaining. Still hope. Still a dream. Portugal pushed forward desperately. Crosses flew into the box. Midfielders attacked non-stop. The pressure became unbearable. Ronaldo kept moving, searching for one magical moment to save everything. Then, in the dying seconds of the match, the ball finally arrived at his feet inside the penalty area. This was it. The final chance. The entire football world stopped breathing. Ronaldo struck the ball with all the strength left inside him. But the goalkeeper made an unbelievable save. The whistle blew seconds later. Game over. Dream over. Ronaldo stood motionless while opponents celebrated around him. His teammates collapsed onto the pitch in tears. Portuguese fans cried in the stands. Some covered their faces. Others simply stared into the distance, unable to process what had just happened. And in the middle of all the chaos stood Cristiano Ronaldo. Alone. For the first time in years, he looked human. No celebrations. No screaming. No iconic "so." Just silence. The cameras followed him as he slowly walked toward the tunnel. Tears filled his eyes despite every attempt to hide them. Millions of fans watching around the world felt their hearts break in that moment. Not because Ronaldo lost a football match, but because they realized an era was ending. This wasn't just another defeat. This was the possible end of the greatest football journey ever witnessed. Inside the tunnel, Ronaldo finally stopped walking. He leaned against the wall and covered his face. Every sacrifice, every training session, every painful defeat, every comeback, every moment of pressure, it all came crashing down at once. For over 20 years, Cristiano Ronaldo had dedicated his entire life to football. While others rested, he trained. While others celebrated, he worked harder. He transformed discipline into an obsession. That obsession turned him into one of the greatest athletes in sports history. But even legends cannot escape time forever. The heartbreaking truth had finally arrived. The World Cup dream might never come true. Yet strangely, the world didn't see Ronaldo as a loser that night. Fans from every country applauded him as he disappeared into the tunnel. Even rival supporters showed respect. Because football is bigger than trophies alone. And Ronaldo had already given football everything. He inspired millions of people to believe in hard work. He showed young players that talent means nothing without sacrifice. He proved that dedication can transform impossible dreams into reality. Maybe he never lifted the World Cup trophy. But he lifted the standards of greatness itself. Back in Portugal, families watched the emotional scenes together in silence. Children wearing Ronaldo shirts cried while parents tried to comfort them. Social media exploded with emotional tributes. Former players, celebrities, and fans from around the world shared messages thanking Ronaldo for unforgettable memories. Because regardless of trophies, Cristiano Ronaldo became more than a footballer. He became hope. He became inspiration. He became proof that impossible ambition can push human limits beyond imagination. Hours after the match ended, Ronaldo finally posted a message online. The words were simple, but devastating. The dream was beautiful while it lasted. That sentence alone shattered millions of hearts across the football world. People didn't want to believe it was over. They wanted one more miracle. One more comeback. One more unforgettable Ronaldo moment. But deep down, everyone understood the truth. Football moves forward. New stars rise. New generations arrive. Time never stops. Even for Cristiano Ronaldo. Yet legends never truly disappear. Long after retirement, fans will still remember the impossible bicycle kick against Juventus. They will remember the Champions League nights where Ronaldo looked unstoppable. They will remember the emotional Portugal triumph at Euro 2016. They will remember the iconic celebrations, the confidence, the mentality, the passion. And above all, they will remember the man who never stopped believing. Because Cristiano Ronaldo's story was never really about winning every trophy. It was about chasing greatness without fear. It was about fighting until the final whistle. It was about inspiring the world to dream bigger than anyone thought possible. As the stadium lights finally turned off that night, one question remained inside the hearts of football fans everywhere. What happens to football after Cristiano Ronaldo? Maybe nobody truly knows. But one thing is certain. The game will never feel the same again.